Get ready for the Work Better podcast. I'm Toree McQueen, here to share stories on what's working and what's not in business and in life from humans all over the world. I believe everyone's version of success looks different, but in the end, we should all love our life's work, and in doing so, live a life of complete fulfillment. And if you don't love your work, I'm hoping you'll tune in and uncover some inspiration here to work better. Hey, my friends, welcome back to the Work Better podcast. Today, we're going to be chatting about the 72-hour fast that I just did a couple weeks ago and just my overall experience with it, why I decided to do it, how it felt, and maybe a few takeaways for you in case you decide you want to try it. Just giving you a couple tips that I feel like help me. And yeah, so let's kind of dig in. So, first, why did I decide to do it, right? Well, the 72-hour fast is not a new thing, right? It's been done years and years and years, and there are many, many benefits to it, right? Or at least that you read online. And I actually have a lot of people in my circle that have tried it, and I had already done the 16-hour fast. I actually do a 16-hour fast pretty regularly as I try to only eat within certain windows. And that I have felt has done a lot for me personally and with my body. It's just really what benefits me the most is to only eat in certain windows. So I've already been used to the 16-hour fast. I have done multiple 24-hour fasts and have felt really great with those. And then I have been around several people that have done the 72-hour fast. So I thought, you know what? Let me determine for myself what I think of this because I do hear there's a lot of benefits, but I know pros and cons, right, from people that are in my circle that have done it. Some absolutely love it. Some people couldn't even finish it because it was so hard on them. And I just think everybody's body's so different that I'm just kind of sick of reading it. And I really just wanted to try it out for myself. So, some of the benefits that I have heard about it were the cognitive benefits, mental clarity, focus is kind of what I was aiming for, overall health benefits with longevity and your overall lifespan, weight loss benefits potentially, which for me, I wasn't really going for that because I felt that any weight loss that it's done in 3 days is a given, and also that's not sustainable, so I didn't really do it for weight loss or any of that. Improving metabolic health and cleansing of the gut. You guys who have been listening kinda know that I've kinda been on my own health journey with cleansing my gut and just kinda experimenting with different things for my body and what is good for it, and so, yeah, I was already naturally interested in trying this, and I would say that the biggest benefits and the takeaways that I wanted to get out of it were really just seeing, first of all, if I could handle it. I just wanted to force myself to be disciplined because I am such a foodie and all that, that I wanted to really push my boundaries with that. And again, like I said, I saw friends that it was easy for and people that it was hard for. So I was really just naturally curious already. But aside from some of these health benefits, let me give you kind of my top 3 reasons why I decided to do it and when I did it. So, number one, again, those of you who have been listening know that I'm kind of on my own health journey and experiencing kind of what works for my body. So I just wanted to tap into another outlet that I haven't tried yet and just to see how that goes cuz I have been hormone tested. I am trialing different foods for my body. I've done the short bursts of fasting and now this would be topping that just to continue to push my boundaries with my own health. Number 2, needing a health body reset after a holiday weekend. So I went camping for Memorial Day weekend. And of course, when we go camping, like I am a total social eater and gatherer, and I'm all about experiences. And when you're out there camping, you're eating the s'more, and you are drinking the wine, you're having a good time. And none of this is, I would say, I'm not a glutton when it comes to doing that on the weekends. It's just more than what my body typically has. So I'm drinking actual beer that I love, and I love to drink socially, and I don't tend to overdo it, but it's just something that if I'm not drinking on a daily basis and I drink it, my body definitely feels a difference. And then also eating hot dogs or hamburgers that I wasn't really eating previously. Like I had veered from beef overall, no gluten, all the restrictions, the sugar, like I had not been consuming too much of that in the past, 6 months. So it's having a holiday weekend like that where we are consuming a lot of that is just a little more than what my body enjoys. So instead of not partaking at all, I just said, "You know what? I'm gonna partake, I'm gonna have a blast." But then, it'll be a perfect time to do a 72-hour fast, cleanse my body of that, and then revamp on my continued health journey with restricting gluten and restricting some sugar and all of that. So, number 2 being that reset. That is a reason why. And number 3, I just wanted to experience what it was like to discipline myself for 3 solid days. That would be the longest I have ever gone without, really eating. I take that back, actually. I did do a lemonade diet in college where it was just salt, water, and lemon and honey. Right? And I did that for about 14 days, like a 14-day cleanse. But this was straight up no calorie intake really, and it's just tea, coffee, if I had black coffee, and just 0 food. And I haven't done that in a long, 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 long time, like since pre-kids. So, I wanted to discipline myself and just play the mental game and just to kinda like a body reset, this is like a mind reset. Aside from seeing what it would do for me, I knew that it was gonna be mentally tough, and I wanted to put myself in that space for 3 days, which is kinda funny because people think I'm a weirdo and I'm crazy for that, but I just tend to want to try hard things for my brain. So that was the 3rd reason. And I am such an experienced person. I keep saying that. I'm just a person that wants to experience things for myself. So I have been reading about this. I have been chatting with friends about it, learning about their experience. And you know what? I'm tired of reading about it. I'm tired of asking about it. I just wanted to try it for myself. And also, so I can formulate my own opinion and have a perspective on the matter, right? Sometimes you just got to follow your natural curiosities and see how it will go, right? So, anyways, that is why I did it. Now, what was it like? I had one of my friends ask me, oh, I've had multiple friends actually ask me, like, oh, well, what was it like? What was the takeaway? And I really had to think about it because it was a little bit underwhelming at first because I think it was easier mentally than I thought it was. And again, like I said, I was kind of going into it thinking it was going to be so hard. And mental wise, it wasn't too hard. So, anyways, what it was like. So, I started the fast the Monday after Memorial Day weekend. So, on Memorial Days when I started it at 5:30 p.m. So, it's 5:30 p.m. on a Monday and I ended it at 5:30 p.m. on a Thursday. And I would say it's much like running a marathon, like my experience in running a marathon. I typically try to fast for about 16 hours every day, so I try not to eat too much or at all after 6 or 7 PM at night anyways. But this time I decided to start a little earlier just so that way I could end it sooner around a dinner time on Thursday with the family. So that's kinda just what worked for my schedule, and I also knew that if I started at 5:30, oh, I could go a few hours and then me going to bed would be another 8 hours, 9 hours, and then I'm already, like, head on into the fast. So, I would say, though, that when I started at 5:30 and then kinda went to bed, the next day all the way up till 5:30, so the first 24 hours really felt like mile 1 through 5 in a marathon, right? So, like, that first couple miles or until you hit mile 5 or if you haven't experienced that, let's not even think about food. Let's not even think about running or don't even think about what we're doing. Let's just remember what it feels like to just be and get into a rhythm. and get into the headspace to mentally prepare for the remaining time. So a lot of this is, that first day or the first 24 hours is really just releasing the habits that you already had or that your body was craving. So over the weekend, if I'm eating, licorice on a campsite or s'mores, then my body might crave more sugar than the typical. Or if my habit is to put creamer in my coffees, then it's just, tossing that habit aside. So just being really, really aware of your habits that you have and just ensuring that you don't do that. Or I have friends that easily eat breakfast off their kids' plates. I mean, and those calories never counted, right? Those little habits you have to be aware of. And again, I would say probably a benefit too is that it does make you extra hyper aware of the habits that you have created over the past few months, right? So if your body is craving things, that's going to come up in the first day. And then just releasing the habits that you have, whether that be noticing when you drink extra coffee or have your protein or eat snacks at baseball games. It really allowed me to take note of my habits and I had to stop in my own tracks. So it could have been very easy in the first 24 hours to accidentally break your fast if you weren't consciously like paying attention to your habits that you typically have. So I would say that's the biggest challenge there. But overall, once you get through that first day of like just focusing on the habits, then by then it's already nighttime. And so you go to sleep, and then the next day, day 2, really feels like mile, I don't know, 6 through 16 in a marathon. It's pure mental game here at this point. You just keep going and don't think about the pain, you don't think about the hunger, and to be quite frank, like, I didn't have any hunger pains, actually. So and I actually by day 2 I didn't have any cravings either. My body had already released some of the cravings from the first day. And so it's really about following the process, drinking the water. Like on a marathon, you got to eat the jelly beans, or for a fast, just drinking water and tea and getting into that rhythm and then keeping your mental game positive and in forward motion. I think that this is really, really key for any fast or any marathon or anything that you're trying to accomplish and do for a certain period of time that you're not typically used to. And about about day 2, 2 to 3, I was definitely feeling the cognitive benefits. So, feeling a cleaner and clearer headspace was totally noticeable. And my energy levels and my mood were so much better than what they had been the previous week. So, less groggy, less drained. I just felt lighter. I could make decisions. I could stay focused. My focus was pinpoint. I had less distractions and less thoughts coming and going, and I could actually focus on a single task at hand through to completion without getting up or being distracted. And that is huge for me because a lot of times, especially with having multiple businesses and kids and everything in the mix and all the schedules and all of that, it's hard to stay locked down. That is a very tough thing for me to do. So that is a super, super huge benefit for me when I do fast because I'm able to sit for longer periods with heightened focus. So that was great. Again, I felt lighter. I was not hungry at all. I had zero food cravings. I was also recognizing all the normal habits I would have had and just stood clear of them. Like it no longer felt like a fight to stand clear of the habits I had. But I did, come 4 o'clock, I'd be like, oh, like normally I would have had this protein shake and I would have ate this food and I would have done this and I didn't. So those are kind of the mindset that I had. I was also very busy with work and kids and activities and after school baseball and all of that. So, bringing tea along with me for a baseball game or in the office was great for me. So, instead of packing snacks or things like that, I just would pack a tea. And that really helped, I think. One thing I had to be really mindful of was my caffeine consumption, and I went with a combo of green tea and herbal tea, and I really tried to stay clear of too much caffeine and steer clear of too much coffee. So, I mostly drink water and tea, but I did have black coffee, I believe, on the first morning. And, it's so crazy because I did hear that coffee had mold in it, so then I didn't wanna drink any coffee because I really wanted to see if my body was affected by it, but I did have coffee, black coffee, on the first morning. So maybe the next time I do it, I'll steer from coffee if I could do some kinda coffee cleanse to see how that goes, but this fast, I did have coffee and I did have tea, a mix of herbal and green tea and black tea. So that seemed to work great for me. I didn't have any lemon in it. I didn't put any honey in it, none of that, just straight up tea and water and coffee. And by nighttime of day 2, I started to think about what I would be able to eat for dinner on the 3rd day. And it's kind of funny because I still wasn't having any cravings, but if you're a mom or anything like that, you know that you already have all the dinners planned, or you try to, or you're prepping for one meal while you're doing another meal for your family. It was kind of funny because I was thinking, "Okay, well, what do we have planned? We have my son's graduation, and then what are we gonna have for dinner? What can I eat? What should I eat?" And yeah, so the end of day 2, I was kind of already thinking like, "Okay, I don't need to think about dinner now, but what about tomorrow?" And so then I just started thinking about it. I still had 0 cravings though, and I had felt amazing. And by the 3rd day, I felt like it was like the last 6 miles in a marathon. You've already come so far and you realize you're actually close to being done and you're at the tail end of it, and you start to get excited, but also you have to remind yourself that there's still a ways to go. So to stay in a rhythm and not get too excited, because that's when you'll start really, really salivating and getting the cravings and like really counting down the minutes. And I remember this when I did my marathon too. I was excited, but my husband was like dying next to me. So I had to keep it positive and don't get too excited and just keep the pace and keep it cool. And I felt like that's how it felt the 3rd day, like morning going into, afternoon and evening time. And in a marathon, if you get excited and speed up, you're at risk of like burning out. And so the same is what I thought here on the 3rd day. I just keep my cool and just focus on my tasks at hand. And my focus was still really, really great. I was a little bit more short tempered, which means I didn't really have as much patience for things. And maybe this is where people are like, hey, that's called hangry. Again, I wasn't craving anything, but I was definitely more short that 3rd day. But my focus was amazing. And 5:30 really came before I knew it. Like, I felt like I could have done another day at this point. I was feeling great. I wasn't hungry at all, but my mind just did start craving foods. I think over excitement of doing the countdown and me being a foodie, I still didn't really feel hungry. And then when the 72-hour hit, I just ate a banana and we had to go into my son's preschool graduation right at 5:30. So, I ate my banana in the car and we went to his preschool graduation and I felt great, and then we just had a light dinner after that. And I just had to remind myself to just eat slowly, and as we ate after the graduation program, my body, I obviously got full really fast and had my water and just, paced myself there. Going that 3 days, I think it really helped my body not to crave all the bad things, and I could just continue with my diet without the gluten or the dairy or the sugar or whatever I was cleansing my body from. It really helped kickstart that because it eliminated any of those cravings. So I think this really helped kick my body back into gear. And I would say my biggest takeaway from this, you guys, is the cognitive functioning and the focus that I had, the mental clarity that I had was so amazing because I wasn't fueling my body with nasty stuff. And I think it's a giving now. Like, if you have alcohol, if you have sugar, if you have bread or carbs or empty calories, you're gonna feel like crap. And I think we forget that. And some of us eat it so frequently and consume so often that that is our norm. That when we do take that out of our diet, we actually feel what we should feel like on a normal basis. And it's just a huge reminder of that. Definitely the mental clarity and focus was huge for me and my productivity with work and with home and my moods with the kids and the family. Like, Everything just felt so great doing it. Tips I would say for you though, if you wanted to start doing it, I definitely think that starting it in the evening time is great. If you can start it sooner, the better in the evening. If you can go even longer, or maybe start even at lunchtime, if you think you can go longer before going to sleep, I think that that would be best. Because then on the last day, you only have to go a half day and then you can break your fast at lunch. That would be great too. Another thing is black coffee. I did black coffee and tea, and I think that would be great. But some people also do electrolytes. So if you're feeling like your body is used to that and really needs all that, I would read up on the effects of electrolyte and looking into that. I did not do that this time, but I know many people who have. And I think that that would be a good tip to read up on and decide if you want to do that. I'd also say get good sleep. I really got good sleep because I knew that if I didn't, I would probably mentally be exhausted. So just getting good sleep is key and staying positive and busy. Like, don't let your headspace get in a negative space. And if you stay busy, focused on other things, then your brain, I think, is powerful and can keep you focused on continuing to move forward without thinking about food or any of that. Your brain is so powerful. So, if you have any interest at all, I do encourage you to just go for it and just try it, right? And see if it works for you. And some of you may be thinking, like, ain't no way I'm doing that. And you can always start with 24-hour fast or even a 16, 18-hour fast to begin with. If you've never done that, maybe start small. It's just like most people won't just go and run a marathon. They usually do like a 5K or a 10K or a half marathon sometimes first. So test the waters and see how your body reacts. And I'd say it's a great way to get to know yourself and your body, and even more so than you do now. And I will say that I plan to do a 24-hour fast. I feel enough benefit for that, and I feel great doing that. So I'll probably be doing that once a week to see how my body reacts. And maybe I'll do a 72-hour fast a couple times a year, or maybe quarterly if I feel like I need another reset. Then I will probably use it as my reset to kind of mentally kick myself back into gear and stop my body from any cravings if I wanted to get some kind of reset for that. So, my friends, that's really it. Although for me, like I mentioned, it was surprisingly underwhelming. I do still feel that the 72-hour fast was worth it. I'm not even sure why I thought it would be so hard, but I do think that I mentally prepared myself for the worst and definitely came out on top for doing that, which, hey, I'm happy about. And the mental preparation part is probably what kept me going. And everybody is so different. Everybody's body is literally different. So just give yourself grace if you decide to try it, and definitely listen to your body. Like I said, I have friends who have done it and they've gone longer, and I have friends who couldn't even make it to the 72-hour fast and they've had negative reactions to it. So just really listen to your body. And if you feel like you need to get a doctor on board, do that. But I definitely think it's worth trying if you are curious. And as always, guys, if you have any questions or want to know anything else about my experience with the 72-hour fast, or have specific questions about it, or want to suggest anything else you think I should try in regards to health or anything else, don't hesitate to reach out and shoot me a message on the gram or anywhere you can find me, as I'm always trying to experience new health hacks and different experiences. But aside from that, I'll just continue to be over here rooting for you per the usual, and just wishing you all a happy and healthy days ahead. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time. Well, my friends, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Work Better podcast. I hope you've wrapped up your golden nugget and take it with you on your journey to finish out the week. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, leave a review, or reach out to me personally if you have any special requests for guests or questions you'd like me to share on the show. In the meantime, I'll be over here rooting for you. Until next time.